Hi, I'm Jason Laughlin. This is Home Recording for Guitarists, presented on the UA Apollo. In this video, we'll learn 3 ways to use compression with your guitar sound. Okay, let's move over to the UA console and select a compressor. So I'm going to go over here to the insert slot and click on that. And then I have my menu of all my categories here. The compressors and limiters are going to live here in dynamics, because that is what they do. They tame dynamics. All right, so I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to pick the 1176 Legacy. The 1176 compressor is a compressor that comes with the UA console, and it's also one of the most famous compressors. All right, so quick little rundown about what everything does here. Input, how much signal is getting in, which is going to affect how hard this works. Output, how much signal is getting out after it's been affected. Attack, how quickly the compressor goes to work. If you have it all the way set here on 1, that means you're getting the most dynamics, the most attack before the compressor kind of kicks in. Over here, you're smoothing out all the dynamics and attacks to make them all sound as uniform as possible. Release is kind of like a sustain knob. If you bring it all the way here to 1, it's going to hold on to the sound the longest. You'll get the most sustain. Here you'll get the shortest sustain. It's going to let go of it the quickest. These little buttons over here let the compressor know how many dB are coming in as opposed to what's coming out. So this is 4 dB in to 1 dB out, 8 in, 1 out, 12 in, 1 out, 20 in, 1 out. We don't really use this much up here, the 12 and 20 ratios for compression, because it starts to sound a little bit more like limiting. But so we're going to really just focus on to the 4-to-1 relationship here. All right, let's get into using our first sound. Okay, so the first sound I'm going to show you is one that lets the compressor do all its magic without you hearing the effect so much. So it's something I use for my clean country guitar sound. It's something that I would use for, my basic rock guitar sound. And what I do is I set the attack here to kind of center. So I don't want to kill too many of the dynamics, but I want to tame them just a little bit. And then I'm rolling my release to pretty fast release, 4-to-1 ratio. And then I'll play my guitar with this off. And then I'll turn it on. Okay, so I'm getting about 2 dB knocked off of the sound. I might bring up the input a little bit more to kind of knock off some more. Okay, now I'm getting about 3 dB. That's, generally where I like it. Okay, let's hear what that did to the sound. So I'm going to go back to the uncompressed guitar sound, to the compressed guitar sound. Okay, it's doing a couple things. It's knocking off some of those peaks. It's also kind of taming some of those transients, those higher frequencies. And then it's bringing up some of the quieter information that I'm not hearing with it uncompressed. But it's subtle, and that's what I want. I just want it to tame it. I'm not looking to hear the effect of compression. So like I said, that's going to work great for, say, a nice spanky clean sound like this. And then it will work great for, say, a rock guitar sound. So I'm going to throw on a little overdrive here. I'm going to pull back the input here and try to get it to that 3 dB spot again. And when I pull it back, I might have to make up the signal with the output. Okay, now I'm kind of back where I was. Okay, so now I still have a pretty dynamic guitar sound, but everything is just chilled out a little bit. Okay, another great sound to get with a compressor is to let the compressor do a ton of work and hear the effect of a compressor. So now you want the listener to really hear it working. And this is a cool sound. So you achieve this by cranking up the attack. So now all of my attacks are going to be pretty uniform. And then I'm going to make the sustain as long as possible. So yeah, I'm losing a lot of the dynamics of my performance, but I'm getting this other sound of this thing, of this compressor working really hard. And it's a thing, it's a sound. So I'm also going to increase the input here. This is going to make the compressor work a little bit harder. And let's check that out. You can see that meter is getting pinned right away. I'm going to turn off the compressor. Compressor on. A lot of sustain, a lot of uniform attacks. Sounds very even. Something that would, not just sit in a mix, but also impart a lot of color. Okay, the third way I like to use compressor kind of sits in between the first two ways that I showed you. I've switched to a Buxom Betty amplifier here. So here's the guitar sound. What I want to do is set the attack to, somewhere in the center here, so I'm not killing all my dynamics, but it is taming it a little bit. And then I'm going to set the release to pretty slow. So I'm getting the attacks, but I'm also getting a lot of sustain. So when the compressor grabs a note, it's going to grab it after the attack and kind of hang on to it a little bit. So let's hear how that sounds. Okay, I'm getting a little bit more sustain out of these notes now. But I can still hear all my picking. And it's just elongating a lot of those notes. So it's really great if you're playing a long lyrical solo, or if you're playing a lot of big open chords that you want to ring through a full measure. You still want to hear all that bite of the attack. So these are three classic ways of using a compressor that I find myself using all the time. Use the presets as teachable moments. Every time you bring those up, take note of what changed, listen to it. It's only going to help you dial in your own guitar sound. Thanks for checking out the video. My name is Jason Laughlin. Please be sure to subscribe and ring that bell so we can let you know about new videos when they're released.